Most of us have this idea that being highly intelligent is like having a social superpower, right? You've got all the answers, the clever comebacks, and you're the life of the party. But what if I told you that's completely backward? So let's ask that question directly. Is being incredibly smart really a free pass in the social world? Or could it actually be the very thing that creates friction and pushes people away? Well, psychology actually points to something fascinating, what we could call the intelligence paradox. Being exceptionally smart doesn't always pull people closer. In fact, it can do the exact opposite. It can act like a mirror, reflecting other people's own insecurities right back at them. So today, we're going to break down 7 surprising ways your mind might be intimidating others, and you probably don't even realize you're doing it. Okay, first up, you're the person who, while everyone else is happy with a simple answer, can't help but ask, but why? Or wait, are we sure we're not missing something here? Now, this isn't just you being difficult. There's a real psychological trait for this. It's called a high need for cognition. It's literally a hunger to understand, to find the real truth under the surface. But for people around you, these deep questions can feel like a pop quiz they didn't study for, making them super nervous because they just don't have a quick answer for you. Number 2, your brain is basically a high-speed radar. It's constantly scanning the world and connecting dots between ideas that to everyone else seem completely random and unrelated. You see the trend way before it's a trend. You've already figured out where a project is going to fail, while other people are still trying to figure out where to start. Now, being 3 steps ahead is an incredible skill, but man, can it be intimidating for people who like things to move at a slow, predictable pace. It just leaves them feeling like they're constantly trying to catch up. All right, number 3 is a big one. You've been there, right? You're in a conversation about traffic or the weather or some reality TV show, and you can just feel your brain shutting down. It's not because you're rude, you're just so bored. Look, small talk is what we use to grease the wheels of society. But for a really deep thinker, it just feels draining. It feels inefficient. You crave conversations that have some meat on their bones, that actually explore big ideas. But here's the thing. For people who rely on that casual chit-chat to feel comfortable, your lack of interest can feel like you're judging them. Reason number 4. Ever been in a meeting where you've already solved the problem in your head before your team has even finished writing it out on the whiteboard? Yeah, that's high cognitive processing speed in action. And this is so cool. Research shows that this kind of mental speed is tied to what's called model-based thinking. So while everyone else is just reacting to what's happening right now, that's model-free, you're already running simulations in your head, planning for what's coming next, especially when the pressure is on. And while that speed is an amazing tool for getting things done, in a group setting, it can create this intense pressure. It makes other people feel like they're in a race they never even signed up for, and they're always being measured against your pace. Coming in at number 5 is your social radar. You just have this weird, uncanny knack for seeing the why behind what people do, even when they're trying their best to hide it. Psychology actually has a name for this. It's called theory of mind. It's your ability to get that other people have their own private thoughts, their own desires, their own secret motives. And people with high intelligence tend to have a super developed version of this. You're the one who notices that tiny hesitation in their voice or that flash of an expression they try to cover up. And for the person on the other end, that is incredibly unsettling. It feels like you can see right through them, like their secrets aren't safe, and it leaves them feeling totally exposed. All right, let's talk about number 6. You just don't need a constant drip feed of likes, compliments, or outside approval to feel good about yourself. Your validation comes from within. This kind of self-reliance is actually rooted in a concept called asynchronous development. It's often used to describe gifted individuals whose minds, emotions, and bodies might develop at totally different rates. Put simply, their inner world is just wired differently. This quote really nails it. It shows that your independence isn't you being arrogant or cold. It's the natural outcome of having an inner world that is just fundamentally different. But to someone who depends on others for their self-worth, your self-reliance can feel like a personal rejection. And finally, number 7, let's talk about how you talk. You have this incredible ability to take a huge, messy, complicated idea and just lay it out with absolute precision and clarity. Now, your only goal is to make things clear, but there's a side effect you might not notice. By making it simple, you accidentally reveal just how deeply you understand it, and this can make other people in the conversation feel self-conscious, like there's suddenly a new bar they have to clear just to keep up with you. So after hearing all that, It's pretty easy to look at these traits and think of them as social problems, right? But I want us to completely reframe this. These aren't flaws, they're features. Because here's the raw truth. For a lot of people, being highly intelligent doesn't feel like a superpower. It just feels lonely. It feels like you're too much for people, too restless, too intense, just too different. But those very feelings, those struggles, they're the proof that your mind is working in an extraordinary way. The big takeaway here is this. Intelligence was never about being better than anyone else. It's simply about seeing the world through a different, more high definition and, yeah, sometimes intimidating lens. So I'll leave you with this. How many of these 7 signs really hit home for you? Recognizing them isn't about putting a label on yourself. It's about finally understanding that your mind isn't broken. It's just operating on a whole different frequency.